After divorcing Luis, he still kept harassing me. The baby's sick. He misses you. Can't you come see him? I miss you too. When a child is sick, you call a doctor, not me. He's barely a month old. How could he possibly miss me? I replied calmly. Are you really this heartless? He's your child too. Are you really going to disown him? Yes. Do you have any shred of conscience? None. Don't you even want to hold him? No. And Luis, begging, guilt-tripping, crying, it's all been done before. Stop using the child to manipulate me. When you've been confused long enough, it's time to get cold-blooded for once. I told you already, if I want to leave, nothing can make me stay. Chapter 1. By the time Luis arrived, I had already packed everything. I handed him the newborn baby. You should have learned how to hold him by now. If not, well, figure it out. He's your kid now. I won't feel bad. Luis took the baby stiffly, a storm brewing on his face. So you're not planning to acknowledge him at all, Selena? I glanced back at him. Why should I? Wasn't it you and your mother who insisted on taking him away? He's still your child. How can you be so cruel? Weren't you the one who used him to control me? I took a deep breath. You got what your mother wanted. Isn't that enough? I was trying to keep you with me using the child, but you'd rather abandon your own baby than come back? There will be no reconciliation. My voice was cold. I trust your mother won't hurt the baby. She hates me, not him. I had no desire to waste more words with Luis, but just as I was about to leave, more people came in. At the front was Luis's mother. She still looked at me with that same thinly veiled disdain, but at least she kept it subtle this time. A few well-dressed aunties followed behind. I stood at the door and watched the scene for a moment. Luis's mother, elegant and refined, looked no older than 30 despite being over 50. She married into the Luis family from another prestigious household. Of course she enjoyed her lavish socialite life. Unlike me, in all the years I was with Luis, I was labeled as calculating, climbing the social ladder, lucky gold digger. His friends and relatives always ignored me. I was foolish back then. I really believed love could conquer all. That Luis would love me for a lifetime. Chapter 2. Are the DNA results back? What a handsome baby. He looks just like you did when you were little, Luis's mother said, taking the baby into her arms. We ran 3 tests. Luis answered. If you still don't believe it, my dad also asked his secretary to do 2 more at a separate clinic. You can go check with him. No need. If there was anything off, your father would have told me. He didn't, which means everything checks out. I might not believe you, but I trust him. She smiled at the baby. He doesn't even cry, so much easier than you were. I guess I'll be a grandmother after all. I let out a quiet scoff, as if this was her first grandchild. Luis had already fathered a daughter with another woman behind my back, but she didn't care, because it wasn't the grandson she wanted. She never acknowledged that child, and she never will. Luis's mother looked up at me. Why are you still here? You've made your decision. Don't backtrack now. Since you've given up the child, don't expect to come back. He doesn't need a mother like you. Gladly. I sneered. I'll never return to Jingbei, and I won't have anything to do with your family ever again. And with that, I walked quickly out of the hospital. I won't bother them, and I expect they'll never bother me again either. Chapter 3. Back at my place, I packed my things and opened a chat with a friend who works in real estate. I'm trying to sell off several properties. If you have any clients looking, just send them over. I'm available to sign whenever. Also, I've got 2 traditional courtyard houses. The land certificate can be renamed, and the property titles transferred. The land use fee is negotiable. Help me look for buyers. Will you? She quickly replied. Selena, I have to be honest, housing prices are falling everywhere. The market's down. I doubt you'll get 30 million for any of those. I sent back a got it, then added. I've been following the news. I know the market's not great. If I can't get full price, that's fine. I just want to sell. If you find someone suitable, close the deal. After that, I sent an email to my former business partner, Eva. I'll be ready to wrap things up within 2 weeks. You can start handing over the online operations to me. I can take full responsibility now. As for capital input, let's keep things on the same scale as our domestic setup. Ava had planned to move to Germany and asked if I wanted to come and continue working together. I said yes. My parents were gone. Staying in Jingbei only reminded me of trauma, and Luis kept harassing me. I needed a new environment, a fresh start. Only then could I truly break free. Lying on my bed, I reviewed the savings I'd built over the years. Luis's mother once said I was a hypocrite, pretending to be noble. As if I didn't want her son's money when that's what I was supposedly after all along. But I never asked Luis for a cent. Back then, I believed that by not asking, his family would eventually respect me. It was just another naive fantasy. Chapter 4. This time, after the divorce, I didn't bother with pride or appearances. No more playing the fool. Whatever Luis gave me in the settlement, I took. Even the bank card his mother threw at me like hush money, I took that too. When Luis drafted the divorce agreement, he ignored his mother's protests and handed me multiple properties under his name. I accepted them without hesitation. The engagement ring he used to propose? The luxury dresses and jewelry I accumulated over the years for all the business galas? He listed those under my name too. I planned to sell all of it. Everything I deserved, I would keep. Once sold, the value would easily add up to several hundred million yuan. Later, Luis's mother offered even more, compensation for custody in 17 commercial shops along the Second Ring Road. That's coming soon too. To the Luis family, this amount was nothing but pocket change, but it's the most I could squeeze out of them. It was the best outcome possible after endless battles between both legal teams. Getting half of Luis's assets? Impossible. He'd never allow it. And before I could even push for it, his mother would have sicked an entire law firm on me and had me locked away. That woman is merciless. Their family's been rich for generations, old money. Back in the Republic era, all of them studied abroad on their own dime. I know I can't beat that kind of power. Better to take what's mine and leave the country. At least I'll have my freedom. And since I didn't take custody of the child, I won't have major expenses later. I'm alone now. But when you're alone, it doesn't really matter where you go. With this money, no matter how hard things get, I'll be fine. Chapter 5. After my parents died in a plane crash, I sold their company for 80 million yuan, and all those pieces of gold jewelry and antiques left by our ancestors, anything that could be sold. I planned to sell. My grandmother left me 2 small Sahiwin, courtyard houses. They weren't large, and I decided to sell those too. As for the ancient coins I had collected since childhood, I'd take some of them with me as mementos. These coins, passed down from who knows which generation, came in various sizes and designs. Some had nicks, others had verdigris, and most bore the reign titles of old emperors from different dynasties. I first discovered them in my grandma's old chest. She gave them all to me. There were so many that I didn't know their value, but I was eager to show them off to my friends. Of course, half of them went missing, some were stolen, others fell through a hole in my pocket I didn't even know was there. Needless to say, my grandma gave me an earful when I got home. I was her only granddaughter. Even as a child, I'd inherited a trove of valuable things. That's when I realized we were never short on money. The sad thing is, when I married Luis, I couldn't tell the difference between not lacking money and being truly wealthy. And because of that, I suffered through hell for years. Luis's mother once called me a beggar dog who came scrounging at their door. Even my grandmother wasn't spared from their contempt. Looking at those ancient coins now, I suddenly remembered the year the Grand Canal Museum in Guangling first opened to the public. Luis and I had flown over just to visit. Among all the exhibitions, I spotted a coin that looked exactly like one I had. It even had a plaque next to it with the donor's name. I pointed it out to Luis. "Look at this! Can you believe I have the same one? If I'd known earlier, I could have donated it and had my name on display too." Luis laughed as he pulled me into a hug. "If your name's going on there, mine has to be too. We're a couple. Our names should be together. That way, even after we're long gone, they'll still be side by side for all eternity." Back then, when we were laughing and talking like that, we never imagined we'd end up divorced. Buried in that pile of old coins is a military button from an old army coat, an 81 button. The only thing my grandfather left my grandmother before he passed. I'll be taking that with me too. It'll rest beside Grandma's portrait. Forever. Chapter 6. When people slow down, they start recalling the past. During the years I was married to Luis, his mother never hid her disdain for me, and every time, she had a different reason. Sometimes, she blamed me for being too busy with work to visit the old house. Other times, she said I didn't care about her son and only knew how to show my face in public, doing work that, in her eyes, wasn't respectable. Basically, everything was always my fault. I had studied photography abroad. After returning to China, I opened a studio with friends. Luis's mother disliked the location, it was too small. She said it embarrassed her in front of her social circle. So I sold the studio to a friend and took a job at a state-run TV station. That had to be respectable enough, right? Wrong. She still wasn't satisfied. You're always traveling for work, sometimes overseas. You clearly don't treat this place like your home. One day, another woman will steal your husband right under your nose. Then we'll see you cry. In the circles my son moves in, any random girl is more suitable than you. Who do you think you are? Then she pulled strings at the station and got me suspended. Luis and I had a huge fight over it. It was ugly. He got so angry he shattered his grandmother's favorite vase. Of course, the old lady never blamed her grandson. Instead, she whispered behind my back, spreading nasty remarks. I searched every antique market trying to replace the vase. I found something similar, but the seller wanted 20 million yuan. I turned and walked away. Even if I bought it, they still wouldn't appreciate it. They'd still look down on me, so why not save the money for myself? No one would thank me anyway. Chapter 7. Back then, I must have already been sick. No matter what I tried to do, I couldn't summon the energy. Every time Luis opened his mouth to speak to me, I'd start crying. I cried so much that, eventually, even he got annoyed. He looked at me helplessly and said, "Selena, can we talk this through properly? Stop making a scene. You know how my mom and grandma are, I can't control them. Please stop crying. Let's be rational and solve things, okay? I'm exhausted too, but I can't do anything about it. You can't expect me to fight with my mom, right?" By the end, he was shouting, but the truth was I didn't want to cry. Every time someone spoke to me, my head would buzz painfully, as if countless ants were eating away at my brain. I couldn't control my emotions, nor could I control my tears. I'd clench my jaw and keep wiping my face. Over and over again, my cheeks burned from the pressure. My lungs ached like fire, and sometimes everything went dark and I felt like vomiting. It went on for a while. Eventually, my asthma came back. When the doctor came into the room to talk to me, he said I had tear incontinence, no medicine could cure it. I had to rely on emotional regulation. As if the drama wasn't enough already. Not long after that, I found out I was pregnant. But before Luis and I could even talk about whether my condition or medication might affect the baby, it turned into a puddle of blood and left on its own. No need for me to struggle with the decision. That day, I asked Luis for a divorce for the first time. You see, people can be so pathetic sometimes. I've already escaped the hell I was in, and yet I still can't stop replaying everything in my head. Chapter 8. While I was still lost in thought, the sky had already brightened. I got out of bed and opened my phone. My friend said she was taking a client to see the courtyard house this afternoon, but warned me that the guy was hard to deal with, his expected price was way too low. I sighed. My head throbbed even harder. I replied to her first, then opened my work email. At the very top, there it was, an email from Luis. "The baby's sick. Can you come see him? Please, I'm begging you." I replied coldly. "He was perfectly fine when you took him yesterday. Why is he suddenly sick today?" Luis answered, "He's sick. You're his mother. He misses you. I miss you too. If he's sick, go to a doctor. Why are you calling me? And how can a baby that's barely a month old miss anyone? He doesn't even know who I am." I didn't believe a single word he said. "Selena, how can you be so heartless? He's your child too. You won't even acknowledge him?" "No, I won't. Do you have any conscience at all?" "None. Don't you want to hold him? Just once?" "No, and stop using the baby to manipulate me. I've said this before. If I want to walk away, nothing, not even a child, can make me stay." The next second, my phone started ringing. Chapter 9. I picked up the call. "Selena, I know where you live. I'm right outside. Open the door. I'm bringing the baby back to you. I opened the door. Luis stepped inside, drenched from head to toe. I'm sorry, Selena. I lied. It's just me. I figured, with rain pouring like that, even if you had the baby, your mom would never allow you to bring him here. Luis stammered for a long time. How's Miranda doing? I asked, cutting to the point. What? He looked confused for a second, then realized. Oh, Miranda? You think there's something between us? No way. She'd never go for someone like me. You? Saying that? I raised my brows in surprise. Your mom talks about you like you're a national treasure. Says you're the most eligible bachelor around. All the girls are lining up to marry you. Didn't expect to hear you admit someone wouldn't even give you the time of day. Luis let out a self-deprecating laugh. You know what my mom's like. She walks around like royalty, thinking everyone has to accommodate her, but not everyone does. I'm not Cash. People don't just love me. When Miranda's mom found out my mother wanted to matchmake us, she packed her daughter up and flew back overseas. Everyone in our circle knows marrying me is a bad deal. Having a mother like mine means any wife is bound to suffer. I listened quietly until he finished, then asked, so what made you think I'd ever want to get back with you? What, so I could go back and let your whole family trample me again? Luis looked up. Selena, can't you think about the child? Don't you want to give him a complete family? Why can't I think about myself first? Is that a crime? He's your child. You carried him for 9 months. You really don't feel anything for him? Sorry. Not really. I have to be me before I can be anyone else. I gave birth to him because I had no choice. I couldn't terminate anymore. I did think, if it were a girl, I'd take her with me. But once I knew it was a boy, I gave up all thoughts of that. I knew your mother would come snatch him away, and I wouldn't win, so I didn't, and wouldn't, let myself get attached. That's better for everyone. Chapter 10. Luis suddenly started crying. Selena, we used to love each other so much. Tell me, how did we end up like this? Maybe start by asking yourself why you have a daughter out there. That was an accident you chose. If you didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't have. What, was someone forcing you? I don't believe you feel nothing for me. Even some hatred would be better than this cold distance. Oh, stop it. I looked at him. You're not a kid anymore. Don't keep blabbering about love and emotions. It's disgusting. If I hadn't cared so much about those things back then, I wouldn't have stayed this long. Luis said nothing. He lit a cigarette. Didn't even take a puff. Then snuffed it out. I know you're trying to sell property. If it's hard to move, I can buy it. Oh, how generous. Why didn't you just give me money in the first place? No need to be so hostile. Selena, I'm serious. Then talk to my agent. No need to refuse money that's being handed over. I'd love to see what kind of price you come up with. If it's low, don't even bring it up. Luis stood there, still refusing to leave. I ignored him and carried on with my work. In the study, while rummaging through paperwork, I accidentally knocked over my Hasselblad X2D100C. I felt a pang of regret. Putting that kit together had cost me over 180,000 yuan, and it helped me take quite a few viral photos. I opened the drawer and found my drone operator's license and private pilot certificate tucked deep inside. When I first came back to China and started my business, we focused on commercial aerial photography, so I had all the required licenses. Later on, I shifted toward film production and media work. It was far more profitable than drone photography. Every certificate matters, even if they don't translate overseas. It's better to have them than not. Chapter 11. The first time I asked Luis for a divorce, things got ugly. Luis always believed it was because of the miscarriage that it shocked me into making such a decision. But it wasn't. I had been holding it in for a long time. That day, I was so upset I ripped out my foredrip. But Luis just kept trying to talk me down. Losing your job isn't the end of the world. Why don't you open an art gallery? I'll fund it. You've been into art since you were little. You'll do great. In our circle, lots of women open galleries after getting married. It gives them face. If you don't want to run it yourself, I'll find someone. If you do, then run it yourself. Is that okay? Just something to keep you occupied. I threw all the flowers people had brought me in the hospital right at him. I'll say it again, I don't want to, and I'm not opening a gallery. Luis, are you deaf? I said, I want a divorce. I don't want to divorce. He kept repeating, why are we even at this point? We fought until I was exhausted. Can you just stop forcing me? Let me go. Luis, I can't play this game with you anymore. Yes, we're from different worlds, but I'm someone's daughter too. I wasn't raised to suffer. Just because your family's children are raised like royalty, that doesn't make others beggars. My parents, do you think it doesn't break their hearts seeing me treated this way? Every time our families meet, your grandma humiliates my grandma right to her face. My grandma has been proud her entire life. Now in her old age, she still has to be talked down to by your family? Just because I love you. Does she and her granddaughter deserve to be humiliated like that? Is your grandmother the only elder that matters? Isn't my grandmother one too? Chapter 12. And another thing, since I had already decided to divorce, I didn't bother holding back. I laid it all out. Your mom pulled strings at the TV station to suspend me. She told others it was my decision to quit, but we both know it wasn't. She looked down on my job, and I want to know, what kind of job would ever satisfy her? What kind of person would? Is it my job she can't stand? Or is it just me? Eventually, we both ran out of words. We just stared at each other in silence for a long time. My voice was hoarse when I finally spoke again. Go home. Let me have some time alone. He nodded. Then I added, book me an appointment with a therapist. I had never wanted to admit I was sick, but in the end, I had to. When I got out of the hospital and went back to Luis's family house to collect my things, I walked in on Luis and his mother in the middle of a fight. He was threatening to move out. His mother saw me and lost it, screaming that I was seducing her son. Luis stepped between us. Please, stop. Why do you and Grandma have to make Selena's life hell? Don't you think she has feelings too? We've been married for over 2 years. She's lived in this house that whole time. Why can't you treat her like family? I know you look down on her, but what's the point in bullying her like this? Chapter 13. Luis's voice grew louder and louder. Do you and Grandma want to drive me crazy too? Fine. I'll move out. All right? I'll get out of your sight. Just stop bullying her, okay? Ignoring his parents' objections, Luis dragged me out of the family house. On the way, he pleaded over and over again, Selena, please give me another chance. You know you're the only woman I've ever truly loved. I don't want to be apart from you. We'll never fight again. I'll never let you be wronged again, okay? Selena. I was pathetic, I agreed. Later, I kept asking myself why. Why did I say yes? I thought about it again and again. Maybe it was because I really loved him once, and I couldn't accept becoming strangers just like that. After all, we worked so hard to be together. I didn't understand back then that sunk cost shouldn't determine major decisions. But I was stupid, again. Sometimes I think, maybe I deserved it. Luis quit the cushy job his father arranged for him at the head office and started a company with a few partners. Then, thanks to his connections, he secured investments and went solo. I heard his mother was furious. But in the end, she didn't stop him. Those were probably the most peaceful and carefree 2 years we had. Media companies always have opportunities to catch trends. And soon, Ava and I had grown one company into 3. As for Luis, maybe it was luck. Maybe one of his partners actually knew what they were doing, but his company did surprisingly well too. Later, I found out his mother had secretly helped him behind the scenes. That's how they succeeded so easily in an era where starting a business was anything but easy. When that not-so-famous actress brought her illegitimate daughter to our door, I was already 5 months pregnant. Luis's mother summoned us back to the family house to confront her. I didn't want to believe it was real, but after seeing the paternity test, Luis admitted it. She's mine. Once again, he turned me into a joke. Chapter 14. Luis's mother clearly despised the woman. She offered her a sum of money, sitting elegantly with her tea. She said bluntly, "We're not acknowledging this child. Take her away. Whatever happens from now on has nothing to do with the Liu family. If you're smart, take the money. If not, fine. Women like you? I've seen plenty, always trying to climb the social ladder. Shamelessly. Go ahead and make a scene if you want. We'll play along. We're not short on money or connections. Try us, and see if you can blow things up faster than I can wipe the whole thing from the internet and blacklist you. In the end, the woman left with her child. Luis's mother was only angry for a short while. Soon, she was calm again. She walked over to me and sneered. Selena, didn't you swear my son loved you deeply? Then why did he have a child with another woman? Still think you've won? Then she went upstairs, leaving Luis and me downstairs. Luis looked pained. He tried to explain he didn't know how things had gotten this far. Selena, it was just a mistake. That night, the night we lost the baby, when you were yelling about divorce, I was under so much pressure. I had to comfort you, answer my mom's calls, beg her to stop harassing you. I'm only human. I broke down. I needed an outlet. That was the only time. I didn't even know she got pregnant. She used it to trap me. I stood there listening, and I finally understood. So while I was on the hospital floor, begging for a divorce, grieving over a miscarriage, he was sleeping with someone else. Just like that. Turns out, his mother was right all along. Leaving back then was the best choice I ever made. My whole body ached. Even breathing hurt. I stared at Luis for a long time. Just like last time. Right when I thought I was the happiest. He struck the final blow. Chapter 15. I went back to my parents' house. The home I grew up in was now completely empty. Over a year ago, my parents were in a plane crash while traveling for business. Not long after, my grandmother passed away from grief. I was the only one left in the family. At the time, Luis and I had just moved out of the family estate. And I broke down again. He did everything he could to pull me out of that dark place. He was the one who stood by me during my hardest days. That's why it never crossed my mind that before all of that, he had already slept with another woman. Life is full of paths that lead north and south, but it turns out every one of them was a dead end. Now I understand. When I asked for a divorce again, Luis didn't say anything. He just drove off. I tried to reach him, but he was gone for a long time. I called one of his business partners. They said the company was shutting down, and that his mother was once again pressuring him to divorce me, because one of her close friends had returned from abroad, and brought her daughter with her. The girl had just graduated from university. She was sweet, well-mannered, educated, not like me, they said. With my cold, lifeless face, always instigating fights between Luis and his mother. Her grandfather was a successful businessman. Her grandmother a famous calligrapher, her maternal grandfather a government official, her father a diplomat stationed overseas, and her mother the heiress of a noble family. She was 100 times better than me. As for the company, it had only done well before because Luis's mother pulled strings for him. Now she not only stopped helping, she started sabotaging him. So all the projects collapsed. I called Luis all night. At dawn, he finally picked up. I had planned to talk about the divorce, but he thought I was calling to yell at him. Selena, please don't pressure me anymore. I'm human too. I get tired. I hurt too. Can you just let me breathe for once? I swear I didn't know about the other child. Please don't treat me like my mom does. It's hard being stuck in the middle. We should get divorced, I said. He sighed. Last time I compromised, I left the family home for you. Can't you compromise for once too? For my mom's sake? I'm exhausted. I haven't slept in 2 days. Then, more quietly, you know what, Selena? Looking back now, I kind of regret it. Without my mom managing everything, without her support, I can't seem to accomplish anything. He spoke to me like I was a close friend, and rambled for a long time. He never said what exactly he regretted, but I knew. Even if he didn't spell it out, I knew. Chapter 16. Volvia la casa de mis padres. La casa donde crecí no tenía a nadie. Un ano antes. Mis padres murieron en un accidentario cuando estaban de viaje por negocios. Y mi abuela, al saberlo, falleció poco después por la tristeza. Yo era la única que cuidaba. Luis y yo acabamos de mudarnos de la casa familiar. Y me dirán una vez más. El hizo todo lo posible para ayudarme a salir del pozo. Fue el quien me acompañó durante mis días más oscuros. Por eso jamás se me pasó por la cabeza Que ontesta te du eso. Ella esi había acostado con otra mujer. La vida parece tener muchos caminos. Pero todos resultaron ser callejones sin salida. Ahora lo entiendo. Cuando volví a pedir el divorcio, Luis no dijo nada. Se fue conduciendo. Lo busqué durante mucho tiempo. Pero no apareció. Lema uno de sus socios. Me dijeron que la empresa estaba por cerrar y que su madre otra vez lo estaba presionando para que se divorciara de mí. ¿La razón? Una de sus mejores amigas había regresado del extranjero, con su hija. La joven acababa de graduarse de la universidad. Encantadora, culta, educada, nada como yo. Según dicen, con mi cara seria y mi tendencia a provocar conflictos. Su abuelo era un empresario exitoso. Su abuela una reconocida caligrafa. Su abuelo materno un funcionario. Su padre un diplomático y su madre la única heredera de una familia noble. Mil veces mejor que yo. Y la empresa solo había funcionado bien porque su madre lo había allanado el camino. Ahora no solo dejó de ayudar, comenzó a poner obstáculos. Todos los proyectos se vinieron abajo. Lo lame toda la noche. A la madrugada. Por fin respondió. Yo quería hablar del divorcio. Pero él pensó que iba a recriminar cosas. Selena, por favor. No me presiones más. También soy humano. Estoy cansado. Sufro. ¿Podrías dejarme respirar? Te juro que no sabía nada de esa niña. No me tratas como lo hace mi madre. Estar en medio no es fácil. Divorciémonos. Lu dije. Suspiro. La última vez yo cedí. Me fui de la casa familiar por ti. ¿No puedes tú ceder un poco ahora? Estoy agotado. No he dormido en 2 días. Luego. Más bajo. ¿Sabes qué? Selena? Mirando atrás, me arrepiento un poco. Sin el apoyo de mi madre. Sin que ella dirija todo. No he logrado nada. Me hablo como si fuera una amiga cercana. Y hablo durante mucho tiempo. Nunca dijo de que exactamente se arrepentia. Pero yo lo sabía. Aunque no lo dijera. Lo sabía. Chapter 17. I signed the divorce papers and handed them back to her. Kindly leave my house. You're talking to me? This is my son's house. Didn't you read it carefully? This house, along with the ones near the scenic area, your son gave all of them to me. Luis's mother flipped through the agreement, then glared at me with venom. And you still say you weren't after the money? I didn't take a dime from your family for years, yet no one ever respected me. You all called me a gold digger every day. If I didn't take the money now, all that verbal abuse would have gone to waste. Wouldn't it? I cut her off, annoyed. Now that I've signed everything, and you've said what you came to say, why are you still here? Don't make me go crying to your son again. We were married for years. Do you think he'd refuse to hand over the 7 or 8 commercial properties in the second ring? Oh, and by the way, this is being recorded. How rude. She sneered. If you push me too far, what if one day I just lose it and post everything online? You still like to show your face in the media, right? Wouldn't want the public calling you a bitter, shrieking banshee, would you? Sure. No media outlet dares to touch this, but I own 3 media companies myself. Worst case scenario. We all go down together. My tone was calm but undeniably insane. I have no family left. But you? You've got an entire web of connections. What if they get dragged down too? So maybe don't rip your face off in front of someone like me. It won't end well for you. Isn't it easier to just throw some money at the problem? As expected, she gave me more money. After sending Luis's mother out, I started preparing to sell the company. I no longer wanted it. The road ahead needed to be redrawn from scratch. One thing was certain, I would not stay in Jinbei. There was no place left for me here. Chapter 18. After the divorce, Luis and I had no further contact. But that peace only lasted 2 months before he started bombarding me. He said he regretted everything. Said he couldn't forget me. Endless excuses. He cried, begged, threatened to die, every tactic he'd once used on his mother. He now used on me. He was shameless. His mother had helped him clean up the mess at his company. And suddenly he remembered true love again. I had already blocked all his contact info. But before the divorce, He had memorized my work email. And that one. I couldn't change. Every employee and client used it. Even when I set it to reject his messages, he kept creating new emails to reach me. It was effortless for him. As for me, I didn't even bother responding. Until the baby was born, I stayed hidden and away from the company. Chapter 19. When Luis knocked on the postpartum center's door, the nanny was preparing a bottle. I wasn't surprised to see him. With his status, it wasn't hard to find someone in Jingbei, even in a city this big. He stood there apologizing, for who knows the how many time, asking for forgiveness, avoiding responsibility, cheating, depending on his mother for everything, apologizing endlessly without ever changing. That was the man I once loved. What a fool I was. I didn't think you'd actually keep the baby, he said after a long pause. I stood at the door, silent. Right after I said it, I regretted it. Luis continued. I just didn't know how to handle things between us. I didn't want to split up for real. But some words, once spoken, you can't take them back. Still, I didn't respond. He wouldn't leave, so I just returned to my bed. After giving birth, I'd become indifferent to everything. I avoided talking, left everything to the nanny and housekeeper, and found no joy in anything. I leaned back to handle some work emails while the nanny fed the baby. Luis stepped closer. Can I see the baby? Did anyone stop you? I shot him a glance. The nanny stood awkwardly with the baby. Give him the baby, I said. He's the father. It's fine. Luis held the baby like he was carrying a stuffed toy, stiff and unsure. The nanny tried to guide him, but within 10 seconds, the baby wailed uncontrollably. She took the baby back. He's wet. I'll go change him. I didn't say a word, treated the room like it was empty, finished replying to emails, and went to sleep. When I woke, Luis was still sitting beside the bed, looking frantic. Why is it a boy? My mom said. I picked him up off the street. I replied. That's impossible. Luis cut me off. Chapter 20. If you already know it's impossible, why ask me? I'm exhausted. I don't want to talk to you here. Luis left the room. The next day, Luis's mother arrived. She walked in, self-righteous from the first word. You know what I told you long ago. If it's a boy, he stays with our family. You can't take him. Selena. And then what? I asked back. Name your price. My grandson will never leave with you. No matter how much you spend on him, we'll always give him more. Our family's bloodline can't be handed to outsiders. What if you, someone like you, raise him wrong? Name your price, she repeated. What will it take to return the child to us? Are you certain he's Luis's child? She choked on that. We can't be careless. We'll do a paternity test. After all, the doctor originally told us it was a girl, to prevent you from deceiving us. A test is necessary, but don't think you can stall for time, or try to run off with the baby to another city or abroad. If he's confirmed as Luis's child, I'll hire the best legal team and take you to court. Not only take me to court, you'll turn black into white, right? I looked at her. Don't forget, I recorded the day we signed the divorce papers. So what if you recorded it? Who can prove you didn't fake it? And here's some advice. Don't go against our family. It'll be bad for you and for the child. I promise you this. Selena, if you take him, you will not have a good life. You will never leave Jingbei. She stared at me. So think carefully about your conditions. As long as it isn't excessive, I'll agree. Then take him. Chapter 21. What? She froze. I said I'm giving him to you. You're truly not going to fight us for this child? Go ahead and carry him out, right now. I'm serious. He's never been breastfed and never will be. Formula is fine. Take him now. I don't want him. You're playing hard to get, aren't you? Saying you don't want anything, but you really want to use the child as leverage to remarry Luis. You're overthinking. I don't have the patience or energy to raise a child. So take him, and stop bothering me. Control your son. Tell him to quit harassing me. Not everyone thinks your useless son is desirable. Besides a good family, he has nothing. You'd better be telling the truth. She said, doubtful. Can I trust you? What if you turn up when he's older and use him to extort money? I won't be in Jingbei for long. and I don't want any further ties to your family. People say being a rich man's wife is hard. Well, I had the misfortune of learning that firsthand. I won't jump back into that fire pit. You'd better keep your word. For now, the baby stays here. If the paternity test confirms he's Luis's, I will take him. Whatever. When that day comes, I'll give you 6 properties inside the inner ring and 17 commercial shops on the second ring as compensation. But there are conditions. We'll sign a legally binding agreement that you will never bother the child, and you'll cooperate with the legal process to ensure he is formally awarded to his father. Whatever. Chapter 22. When I came out of the study, Luis was still standing there. Go home. Don't just stand around here getting in my way. He said nothing and left. The next day, my friend called. A single buyer wanted all the properties I was rushing to sell, budget generous. Ready to move. I guessed it was Luis. I agreed. No one argues with money. By the time I'd wrapped up everything in China, the weather had begun to warm. I booked a morning flight. I told no one. Yet I still saw Luis at the airport, a baby in his arms. Hold him once before you go. Selena, I'm begging you. He's well behaved. My mother and grandmother adore him, and they even threw him a belated full moon banquet. Babies change fast. A new face every day. It had been nearly 2 months since we separated. I could barely remember what he looked like. Chapter 23. I kept my distance from Luis and didn't take the baby he held out to me. No need. Your mother's right. He'll be better off with your family than with me. And remember, don't ever tell him you did 5 paternity tests just to confirm who he was. You were the one who cheated, not me. I looked at the baby bundled tight. A lot of apologies reached my lips, but I didn't know how to say any of them. In this life, our bond as mother and son ends here. I once looked forward to his arrival so much. Who knew my marriage with Luis would end like this? The truth is, I don't love this child enough. If he were a girl, I would take her no matter what. Because besides me, no one else would care. We would be each other's only family in this world. But he isn't. So I can't take him. Luis's mother would never allow it. No matter what I do, I can't win against her. I refuse to live like a rat, hiding with a child for a lifetime. I'm still young. My parents sent me abroad for a good education so I could see the world, not spend my life hiding because of anyone, burying my future. If I can't take my child, I can at least choose a better path for him. Born into wealth, raised in one of Jinbei's top families, that's better than a lifetime in hiding with his mother. With that, whether he has a mother like me, doesn't really matter. After enough foolishness, you owe yourself one act of cold clarity. I pulled my suitcase and walked toward the gate, not giving Luis another look. I had paved a road for that child. Now I would take my own. Outside the window, everything was lush and blooming. Jinbei welcomed another spring, but I was leaving, so I could meet a better version of myself.